Miss K. Welcome to Miss K Go Postal. I hope you're having a great day. As you can hear, it's raining, it's thundering where I'm at. So I'm just chilling, relaxing, having a little glass of Prosecco because, I feel sedity today. So I wanted to come to you guys because a couple of y'all be asking questions. Y'all put them in the comments. Some of my answers, some I don't because, Miss K be busy, but I try to get back. So I want to go over some of the questions that you guys ask so that I can give you some answers, face to face. How we do face to face. So some of you guys are asking, especially for those of you guys who are MHAs, you're kind of concerned about getting converted where you are in the placement of the listing of wherever you are in your facility. If you've been out for a while and you came back, will you still be converted? Regardless if you are a MHA or a PSC, people are concerned with that, but especially if you're an MHA, you're kind of concerned about what your position is going to be and when you're going to get converted. Now, remember, wherever you are in the standing of the listing of your craft at your location. So let's say you're MHA and you're number 5 or you're number 6, or you're PSC and you are number 7 or number 8. See God talking on thunder. Anyway, so if you happen to leave for illness sake and you're out and you've been gone 6-7 months, or sometimes some people are out for a year, but there was no conversions during that time while you were out, and you come back, you do not lose your standing in your craft as a PSC or an MHA. So if you are number 5 or 6 and you were out for 6-7 months for illness, maybe you had an injury, maybe you had surgery, maybe you had a baby, and they didn't convert during that time, what happens is you don't get skipped. Your standing stays the same. You're still number 5. Now, if you are out of the building for any reason and they do convert, now what happens is they will skip you in the conversion because you're not in the building. So let's say you got put out because maybe you was written up too many times and they put you out the building and you're fighting to get back in, or if you are pregnant and then you are out. Now, if you're pregnant, they won't skip you. You will get converted because you are on a notated maternity leave. But if it's something serious like a discipline and you're out of the building for discipline, then what happens is they will skip you. So if they're going to convert 7 people and you're number 6, then you're going to get skipped and they're going to go to number 7 and make that person 6 and then the next person. But when you physically come back into the building, you will be number 1. Okay? And then you'll be the next person to be converted. Now, if you're simply out for a short period of time because of whatever, there was no conversions during that time and you come back, you don't lose your standing, you will still be converted. Did I get it? All right, good. Now, for those of you who are MHAs and you're going to be converted, because remember, we have this nationwide conversion that is in our contract. So whenever you're located, either a plant, which is mostly primarily where most of the mail handlers are, or if you're at a station, there has to be conversion. They cannot go against the contract. You will get converted. All conversions must be done by November 6th of this year. So sometime between now and November 6th, you will be getting converted. Now, remember in the contract, they're going to convert you to full-time flex. So a couple of you guys have some questions in regards to, what do I get as a full-time flex? Am I still going to get my, my NS days, my annual, my sick, my health insurance, my TSP, all of that stuff? Now, remember, a full-time flex is a regular. You're still a regular. You're a career regular now. It just means that you won't have a regular bid. So you will still get, and I told you this guys before in my previous video I did, you would still get your 5 days on, your 2 days NS. You'll have a set schedule and you'll have a set tour, but you will not have a bid. Meaning you come in, you work from 3:30 to 12. When you come in and you're on tour 3, what happens is they will put you wherever they need you to fill that gap. But you just don't have a bid. Now, the only thing I still haven't found out, and I'm still trying to get information in regards to that, is if you can bid and how does that work? Because you're considered a full-time flex, not a full-time career regular. So that's kind of like iffy. That's a gray area, and I'm still trying to find out for you guys because I honestly don't want you motherfuckers to be full-time flex. I want y'all to be real motherfucking career. But that's neither here nor there. So remember, you still will be a regular, you still will get your NS days, your time will be set, your tourship will be set. You will still be able to access the health insurance, the vision, the dental, your TSP, and you will get your annual re-up every year. You are not a PTF. PTFs is what they had before, which were technically regulars, but they didn't get an advance on their annual. You can earn sick and you can earn annual, but you didn't get advance. So as a regular, we get at the beginning of the year, we get a set amount of hours for our annual every year. If you have residual from the past year, it rolls over. You can only carry, I think, was it 520 now? So, but look, Miss came to see that child because I burn every motherfucking hour I get. It's Prosecco and bad, y'all. Okay. So remember that. When they do come to you and convert you, please clarify if you're a full-time flex or are you going to be a full-time regular. Because in some locations, they have converted in the past couple of months and they are full-time regulars. Now, from this point on, everybody's supposed to be getting converted. In the mass conversion, you guys are going to be full-time flex. Get it? Okay. Another question someone asked me that I'm going to touch base on is some of you guys are still MHAs and you're still in your 90-day probation, or you are under your 90-day probation, and you have dual questions. One question that was asked of me was, this person said they did their 90 days and they were out for like a month or two, and then they got terminated for whatever reason. And they were like, but they did their 90 days and they don't understand why they got terminated. Baby, let me explain this to you. It's 90 working days. It's 90 days or 180 working days. This is day for day. It's just like federal prison. Day for day is your sentence. Meaning every physical day that you come into that place, that's one day. Then the next day, then the next day. Doesn't count your NS. So if you were out for a month or 2 months and you came back, due to medical leave, whatever it was, and it was documented, you didn't work 90 or 180 working days. Your work stopped on the last day you were there, and let's say it was number 60. And you were gone 2 months, and then you came back to work, let's say last week. Baby, you're on day 61. You're not on your 90 days. Y'all getting shit twisted. It's day for day that you physically work in that building. I'm tired of y'all talking about 90 days. 90 working days. You must physically come into that motherfucker 90 days in a row. Okay, that's how they calculate it. That's how management pulls it. So you may think that you did 90 days and they count back, baby, you did 87. Remember, you can be terminated for just cause. They don't have to give you a reason when you're on your 90-day probation. Now, can it be fought? Yes, of course it can. If your union ain't sorry. If your shop steward tell you they don't represent MHAs, lies, and more motherfucking lies. But I'm telling y'all. So remember, it's 90 or 180 working days, whichever comes first during your probationary period. Is normally the 90 days because nobody never do 180 unless it was back in the day where everybody was pulling 6 hours or 6 days or 7 days and you working 10, 12 hours. We ain't even on that type of time no more because we ain't got mail like that. But 90 straight working days. So if your ass was physically out of that building and you came back to work, and after you came back to work, they tapped you on the shoulder and said they was going to write you up or they was going to terminate you, and you can't figure out why, that is why. You didn't work 90 days. And they don't have to give you a reason to lay you off, to terminate you. They just don't. Should it be fought? Yes. Okay. Now, also too, some of y'all ask questions in regards to, I'm going to get converted. I have discipline in the books. Maybe I got a 7-day. Maybe I got a letter of warning or whatever. Does that follow me when I become a regular? Now, this is what's supposed to happen. And I use the word loosely supposed because a lot of times they like to play games. If you have any type of discipline on you before you get converted, what is supposed to happen is that discipline does not carry over when you become a regular. So if you have a letter of warning or they gave you a 7-day suspension, that is supposed to cease because you are now no longer a PSC or MHA, you are a career regular and you have a career regular record now. So your record starts anew. So even for those of you guys who might have been on a 7-day suspension or you were on a review period and you had a 3-month review or a 6-month review and your review period is literally coming up and you're going to get converted, that's supposed to be white clean. Now, can they use it against you? Of course. They the post office. They petty as fuck. They gonna use it against you. But it's supposed to cease. All that action prior to you becoming a regular is null and void. Okay, so no. All right, so another question that I was given in my comment section I want to discuss with you. So remember when I made the video, guys, and I gave you the toxic supervisor worksheet, right? Okay, and I told you guys make copies, give it to your union reps because they're gonna say they don't know what it is, they never seen it because that's old school for you to use in regards to if you're having an issue with a supervisor. Now, a couple of you guys are asking, can I use it on my MDO? Can I use it on my postmaster? Baby, Jesus Christ, then y'all can use it on everybody because everybody fucking fucked up in the post office and everybody pretty much toxic. But that form is specifically made for your supervisor. Now, if it comes to an MDO, I would say this, still use the form because it's a way of making a paper trail that you give to management. But normally, because if you have a supervisor issue, you're supposed to go to your MDO and you're also supposed to go to your threat assessment manager at the post office, which most people don't even know who the fuck that is because normally that's one of the MDOs on your tour. So you using a toxic worksheet on your MDO, I don't see how that's gonna work because you know what's gonna happen with that. They're gonna bullshit a lollygag with it and wipe their ass and it's gonna get disappeared. But you're supposed to use it on a supervisor. You can use it on a 204B as well. But if you feel that you have no other recourse and you're dealing with an MDO, then I suggest that you use that form so that it's a paper trail to management. Because believe me, just because you have an MDO on that tour, they have to answer to somebody else. And it's usually the plant manager or someone else that's in charge. Now, in regards to the postmaster, I don't think that form is going to pretty much work for a postmaster if you're having a toxic workplace situation with a postmaster. There are other ways you can go about dealing with that, but I'm gonna tell y'all real talk, and you know Miss K don't sugarcoat shit. The post office keeps motherfuckers in management who are toxic, and they get so many different complaints: EEO, sexual harassment, all types of shit, and they know about it, and they do nothing about it. So sometimes when I tell you guys what to do and how to move about doing it, a lot of times you guys are just coming back with it's not working, they're not doing anything, they're being stagnant about it, or they're just sweeping under the rug. Yes, because that's what the post office does. But what I fucking want you to do is be the loudest motherfucking drum there is. Because if you don't speak your voice and you go above that person, find out who's above the postmaster. Fuck, call the joy. I don't give a shit. But we have to start letting these motherfuckers know we're not gonna take this type of behavior anymore, or the way they speak, treat, even handle people, do schedules, all of that. The nepotism, the fuckery. Cease it. So if your paperwork is not getting where it needs to go, then keep going all the way up. Make your voice heard. But start with the toxic supervisor form on your supervisors, on your 204Bs, on your MDOs. You're gonna have to do an extra step. And if it's on your postmaster, baby, ooh, that's a big wall to climb. But I suggest you climb that shit because sooner or later, they get their shit. They get their punishment. It just takes a long fucking time. But also remember, you have a remedy of the EEOs. When it comes to the MDOs and it comes to the postmasters, you do an EEO. And if necessary, use EAP so that you can go ahead and document for yourself the harassment that you feel. I told y'all about EAP, right? All right then. So EAP, you know what it is. It's for us postal workers to get assistance that we need in anything that we need it in, especially if we need counseling, especially if we feel like we're being bullied or we're being stressed. So that you have documentation. So the day you decide to pop off in there, you actually go postal and they trying to drag you out. You be like, I EAP this motherfucker. I don't know what y'all finna do because y'all can't touch me. I EAP. But please, utilize the EAP if you guys need it, okay? All right, so another question I was given was in regards to being sexually harassed. And this is, you know, something that's very big at the post office. It's big, but it's little because they don't like talking about it. And I know for a lot of the young ladies and young women in the Postal Service, depending on where you are, if you're a clerk, if you're a mail handler, you have people who are in management, supervisors, MDOs, who feel it's okay to make advances, to say things. Also, to, for some of you guys who happen to get into relationships with these type of people, and I'm not blaming you because we're all human, you're grown, and you make that decision to do what you do. And then the repercussions of it afterwards, maybe there's, that person speaking about you on the floor or making comments in regards to whatever y'all had or didn't have or whatever. A lot of you guys are asking about how to address it if you're not getting shit done at the post office. Now, the first thing that you need to do if you have any type of harassment on you, please make sure you document your harassment. Keep you a little tablet, a little book, a little something. Put it in your notes in your phone of when this happened, the day it happened, and the time it happened. And then what you're going to do is please notify your union. I don't want to hear it. I know you're trying to say they're sorry as fucking don't do nothing, but make sure you document it. Always CYA, cover your ass, because no one can never come back and say, you didn't tell us this, we didn't get documentation. Yes, I did. You bitches ain't do shit about it. I gave you everything you needed and you did nothing. So make sure that you keep it. I know people who keep folders on purpose of things that happen. If you got to keep your manila folder, baby, one of them big ass business yellow envelopes that we had at work with the little string with the little buttons on the back, use one of those. Use one of those and document every time there is an issue at work with whatever employee this is. But also make sure your first step after documenting is speak to your union rep. Let them know. In your union's office, there's a file. Everyone has a file. Anything that you give us, we put in that file. That is not for no one's eyes to see, but yours. It's your file. Remember, you can look at your file whenever you want. You just need to request it to see a shop steward, and you go see your file. And normally what's in there is if you got a new bid, if you signed up for the union, when you became a regular, any disciplines that you were given, any medical information that you've given because you're on FMLA or you have to take a leave of absence, we keep all that in there. Okay? So give them that information so they can put it into your file. Because if shit happens, that rep can always go back and say, you know what? Barbara gave me some paperwork a month ago about, MDO clusterfuck bothering her. So I put it in her file. Now, if you're still having harassment and if that union rep did not go address this particular supervisor or MDO, whoever it is, and if you didn't have any mediation, which should be, there should be if it's getting out of hand, there should be mediation. There should be a conversation between you, that supervisor, MDO, your union rep should be there, and whoever is the threat assessment person at your location. Like I told you, it's going to be an MDO, or it's usually an MDO or someone in upper management that has that particular position for that tour. So there's supposed to be one on every fucking tour. Supposed to be one, okay? And you're supposed to have a conversation. Now, to be real honest, I've had these conversations with these motherfuckers and don't nothing go nowhere. But we've had these conversations so that it's documented. So that it's on paper that we met this day, we did this, we discussed this. Now, if it's still going on, and of course, half the time management just gonna act like they stupid and hope that you forget what the fuck was going on, or hope that you just let it die and don't say shit, but that person's still bothering you, then that's when you go file an EEO. So now what happens in the EEO about the sexual harassment is, once again, you're supposed to have a little mediation and they're supposed to discuss with that person. And you bring any documentation that you have in regards to whatever was going on between you and that person. Now, I'm going to tell you real talk, it's bullshit. It's fuckery. Because what they're going to do, and I'm not talking about the mediator for the EEO because they're separate and they're impartial. They come from outside of the building. That person that's harassing you, they're going to pull your work record because they're fucking petty. So they're going to pull, oh, well, LaShawn didn't come to work. What's she talking about? She come late all the time. She do this. This is what they do to deflect attention away from themselves and put it on you. Like you're the fucking problem. Oh, I'm the problem. Okay. Yeah. But that's when you pull out your documentation. You pull out all the notes that you had written down, about this happened here, this happened there. If you have a witness, which once again with the post office, it's like a fucking mob. They don't know nothing, they don't see nothing, they don't say nothing, so you probably won't get a fucking witness. You have a witness statement. Now, if you are messing with somebody or have messed with somebody, y'all used to correspond back and forth, I'm gonna tell you like this. Be fucking petty. If they sent you text messages, they DM'd you, keep that shit and play Uno all on their ass and make them draw for. You know how to play Uno. Draw for reverse, draw for Uno. That's what the fuck you do. You need to use everything in your arsenal if you're being harassed and nothing's getting done. Because I'm telling you straight up real talk. And you know Miss K don't lie to your ass. I'm telling y'all truth. These motherfuckers do nothing about it. Even in my location, we've had managers and MDOs and supervisors who got a shitload of fucking EEOs and sexual harassment on their ass. And they still walking the fuck around. Smiling all day. They ain't never move them, demote them, fire them, or nothing. Because they get intimidated. They intimidate the person that's being harassed. And then you stop doing what you're supposed to do and you go, oh, well, they're not doing anything about it. I just have to work with this person. Or you just bid off of that tour and go to another one hoping that that shit will cease. Nah, bruh, because that person's going to turn around and harass somebody fucking else. And then they'll harass somebody fucking else. That's when you need to step up and say, I'm not doing this shit. I'm stopping this nipping in the bud. Whatever discipline that comes from it, that's fine. You need some sort of discipline. Now, the final step that I would suggest you do, if it's just completely and utterly, totally fucked up and it's just not getting addressed, the harassment is getting worse and you can't deal with it. They're fucking with your money, they're fucking with your schedule, they fucking with your peace. Don't fuck with a bitch peace. I suggest you go outside the building. Go to the police station. File a harassment charge. Get you a lawyer and let them know. Get a lawyer's name and use that shit. Because the one thing the post office does not like are lawyers. They don't like when you say you finna go get a lawyer, you got a lawyer, you file charges, shit outside of, because they don't like that. It looks bad on them. They like to handle shit internally. And if they don't handle it properly, what the fuck you supposed to do? I suggest you do that. You do that, and at the same time, you go to the OIG, which is the Office of the Inspector General, and they have a website. And then you can go ahead and you can actually file a complaint on their website. And them motherfuckers don't play the radio. So you can do both. There are steps that you can use. Don't let anyone discourage you if you're having an issue. And I know for some of you guys, and I see some of the comments, there's a lot of serious harassment going on where you're working. And that shit is not acceptable at any fucking workplace. So there's recourse to shit that you can do in regards to addressing that person. And I know sometimes it seems like it's not getting you nowhere. They're not addressing it. They think it's a joke. That supervisor, that MDO, hair in my face, think it's a joke. No, let these motherfuckers know that is not a motherfucking joke. Okay? It's not. So make sure that you're the voice. Be the loudest motherfucking drum there is so that these people can stop doing this shit and they can stop doing it to other people. Okay? All right. Now, one more thing. So some of you guys have questions about your clothing allowance. I know. So when you become a regular, you get a clothing allowance. You get an allowance to buy clothes off of Skags. I think there's another one that we use, and that's a little credit card that you get. It's a white card. It's a Citibank card. It's a little credit card that we use to get stuff from them. Now, you cannot use this card to go buy stuff off eBay or Amazon and they're selling Postal clothes. You have to use it on Skags and the other website, which I can't think right now, but whatever. Now, when you become a regular, they're not going to tell you about the clothing allowance. They just don't, because they barely can tell you all the other information that you're supposed to be getting in regards to when you become a regular, like your orientation, how you're going to get a whole new packet, all this stuff. Now, and this is not even for my newly converted. This is for people who've been working at the post office for a minute, who've come up to me and told me they've never received their clothing allowance. They've never received that card. And I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? You've been here 10 years, 12 years, and you've never gotten to use your clothing allowance? That's cray. Now, so what happens is, when you become a regular, management is supposed to put you into the system so that your assistant status or your PSC status is supposed to cross over. That's normally done by human resources. So that has to be done first. But management at your location has to order you and put into the system your clothing allowance. The union does not do that because a lot of people think that we do, and I tell them, baby, we have nothing to do with your clothing allowance card. The only thing that we have is the books. So if you see your union rep walking around handing people the clothing book, the SCAGS book, the union gets those books and we pass them out to people. But we're not responsible for your card. Management is. And you gotta find the right person because most of them don't even fucking know how to do it. It's usually one person. Maybe if you have a human resources person at your location, they can help you do it. But if you work at a plant like me, we don't have nobody like that. So it would either be implant support, someone in implant support, maybe like at my location, the plant manager has a secretary and she deals with a lot of those things and they can assist you with that because they have to order it for you. So this is also for my people who have a card and it's expired. You cannot go back to the union and say, hey, my card expired, I need a new one. You can't even call the customer service number on the back of it and tell them that because management has to go back in and put in a new order for you to get a new card. So when you do that, give it a couple of months if you just got converted to let them know, please, I need my allowance card. So your allowance is based upon, you get it every year, and it's based upon your anniversary date and how long you've been there. So let's say you get, I think for us now it's like $100 and something. It ain't much for Americans at my level. So if you don't use the money that's on your card, you lose it. So if you got $100 and you like, oh, I didn't buy nothing, I'm gonna let it roll over. It does not roll over. If you don't use it, you lose it. You understand that term, right? Okay, so use your card, use your allowance. Even if it's for some shirts or some bullshit, a lot of times I spend the money on my card for other people because I have a lot of postal shit that I've either bought elsewhere or people have given to me. So I don't really use it. I use it for my clerks because a lot of times clerks want shirts that are specific for mail handlers and vice versa. Remember too, when you order things off of SCAGS or any other approved site that you can use your card, you can only buy clothes in your craft. So if you're a mail handler, they have mail handler craft clothes. If you're a clerk, they have clerk craft clothes. So a lot of times people may ask you, hey, or if you're friendly with them, can you order me a shirt? Because I can't get it on my allowance because I'm a clerk. And vice versa. Because clerks got these real nice cable knit sweaters and shit that I love with the Postal on it. And you can only get it as a clerk. But we have the hoodies, which a lot of clerks like because they like the hoodies. So one back scratches another. Help out a clerk, help out a mail handler. If you're not using your allowance, let somebody order some shit. Charge them a fee. Who gives a fuck? But remember, your card. So if you don't have one and you've been there for umpteen years, you've been wasting years and years of your allowance. And no, they're not going to re-up your card and put 5 years worth of allowance on it. Are you fucking kidding me? They can barely get your check, right? You really think they're going to do that? If you get your card, it will be only based on that particular point. And you have to use it by your anniversary date. So if your anniversary date is March 15th, you have to use that money by that date or you lose it. And then you don't get no more money until the next cycle. So just a couple of questions I was answering for you guys that y'all leave in the comments. So I wanted to touch base on a couple of things. If you have any other questions that you want to ask Ms. K, drop them in the comments. I answer them for you so that you can know what's going on. And also, any other questions that maybe not pertain to postal work, maybe, I don't know, what type of Prosecco I'm drinking, child, I don't know, but ask me and I'll probably look at the bottle and tell you, okay? Remember, Ms. K always wants y'all up on the know, make sure that you're educated and that you always have the right tools so you can make the right decisions. And always remember my postal freaks. Love and light.